All right, awesome. Hey, welcome everybody to this week's edition of the Power Play Podcast. I'm Michael Ledeux.
And I am the Dan Dalin. Good to be here, Mike.
It's great to have you aboard, Dan. Thanks. I know we wanted to have Cameron and Trey on, but they're busy with other things right now. So I think you and I can take a run at things.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's amazing. Mondays being what they are and school being what it is, these kids got a lot of learning to keep up on or catch up to. So it's good. Studies come first.
Absolutely. Studies come first. So all you hockey players out there, make sure you're getting your homework done and doing your schoolwork. That's really important. So Dan, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? I kind of did a little, I guess, a brief intro of who I was last week on my first kind of primer for the podcast. But why don't you give us a little bit of your background?
Sure. So I'm the Dan Dalin. I was born in Brooklyn, raised on Long Island, 20 minutes from the Nassau Coliseum, home of the New York Islanders. And that's where I learned the greatest things about hockey. I started watching hockey in 1979. So I got to watch the team I cheered for win the Stanley Cup, which is more than I can say for my wife, who is an avid Buffalo Sabres fan. So I got to, grew up watching Mike Bossy, Dennis Potvin, Billy Smith, then Kelly Rudy,
right.
Pat LaFontaine. I mean, some really, really great players that helped shape the game, I believe.
Yeah, for sure. And I think probably the last team to win 4 straight Stanley Cups too, as far as I know, right? I can't think of that's for sure.
Yeah, that's also the last time they won, but whatever. Still in my lifetime, I'll take it.
Yeah. And what about your hockey playing family? I know there's a lot of hockey going on in your family for sure.
Yeah, so I actually never played hockey myself. I didn't even get to learn how to ice skate halfway decently until college. But my wife, who's from Buffalo, loves the Sabres. She used to stalk them. She was one of those, crazy Sabre groupies. And when we got together, and to this day, I know it, if Pat LaFontaine ever calls the house, she's gone. And I'm happy for her.
Well, hopefully he brings a bundle of cash with him.
Yeah, that's right. That'd be great. But so she's always loved hockey. And so when we started having kids, she talked that, it'd be really great to find some hockey. And then right where we live in upstate central New York, that wasn't hard to do. And we came across hockey. And really, the key was our youngest, because we were watching a minor league hockey game, and Estelle, who was like 3.5 at the time, could not take her eyes off the puck. She was tracking the puck the entire game. And I know a lot of adults that can't do that.
Yeah, sure.
And there she was, and she loved it. And so Karen was pointing her out, so Karen's always looking for the excuse. And she said, look, we have to get her into hockey. She's going to love it. So we found a program, and she was just a touch too young, but we got everybody else in.
Right.
And then a year later, she did the learn to skate. It took her, little kids, 4 years old, like almost 15 minutes to figure out how to ice skate, and away she went. So,
and now you have, are they all playing all 4 years?
Nope. So just 3 out of the 4. My oldest daughter decided that it was really difficult for people to see. This is what I say. She'll fight me too, but really difficult to see how pretty she was when she's got a helmet on.
Right.
So she tried cheerleading, and then she was gravely disappointed at how much work is actually involved in competitive cheer. It's a legit sport. Anybody that does it will tell you it is clearly a sport. We don't get to appreciate that by watching it, but it's a ridiculous amount of work. And so she wasn't into putting that much work into wearing that much makeup. She would rather just look. Now, she plays soccer. She plays volleyball. She's going to try indoor track for this first time this coming winter, and she excels at all of those sports. And you know what? She would have been a great hockey player too. She plays soccer like she's playing hockey. She's gotten more yellow cards in soccer than either one of my boys have gotten in penalties combined.
She's a tough one.
Yeah, she is.
It's kind of the same around here too with my family. I grew up playing a lot of pond hockey in club hockey, but my wife is really the hockey player, right? She played all throughout her youth, and then she actually played at St. Lawrence University. And then, we were living in New Hampshire and talking about hockey. And then as soon as we moved to Watertown, we were able to bring the kids into the association that she grew up in, the Watertown Hockey Association here. And all three of mine went to the Learn to Skate and the Learn to Play Hockey program. And it didn't really catch with my oldest one. He wasn't very interested in hockey, but my daughter wound up playing up until her freshman year in high school. She played in Watertown, and then she played in Canton for the Canton Blades, and then she played for the Malone Huskies girls team. And then, as you know, my youngest, Trey, is playing with your son, Cam, played hockey with him this summer for the Unity Spring Summer Club program, and is now playing on the 14U Wolves team. So, it kind of permeates here too. I mean, I grew up a Boston Bruins fan, lived about 45 minutes from Boston. I can remember my dad was a big hockey fan. So early on, it was, it was the golden era for Boston with Bobby Orr and Phil Esposito, but I was, I barely remember that. I was like 5 years old. I went through
the imprint's huge, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, it really kind of formed my interest in the game. And then I went through a lot of tough times because the Bruins continuously lost in the Stanley Cup to the Canadiens a bunch of times. And then they lost to the Edmonton Oilers. And then, finally they broke through and won against the Vancouver Canucks a few years back. And that sure as heck was a good thing for me. That's for sure.
But, so you grew up outside of Boston. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't have that Northern New York accent. That's why I say, hey, this podcast is about hockey in Central and Northern New York.
Right.
You're bringing the Long Island accent. I'm bringing the Massachusetts accent. They're like, where are these guys coming from?
Yeah, right. We've got our R's confused.
Right. So some of the features we're going to be running through, we're talking about a bunch of different things. We had talked about the mullet of the week. We're talking about, because that seems to be all the rage now with the kids is how crazy can you grow your hair to stick out of the back of your hockey hat. So that's one of the features we're looking at. And then what we're going to do, I think the way it kind of plays out is that we're going to start to ask for some submissions. So we're going to try to get this podcast in a bunch of different places, right? We're going to try to have, Dan's got a venue that he's going to bring so that we can actually get it launched as an actual podcast, right, Dan?
Yep, absolutely. So you'll be able to find this on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast. Actually, that might be where you're hearing it right now, for all I know, because this is like time travel when we talk about recordings, right? You're hearing this in the future. This is wild.
Yeah. And then I know that our friends at Power Play Sports actually have a YouTube channel, so we'll probably launch it up there. We'll probably throw it on some social media sites like the Power Play Sports Facebook page or the Unity Hockey Facebook page, so everybody can see it. But we're going to make sure it gets out there, and we're going to bring a lot of local recognition too. I think that's really important, is talking about what's going on with both from youth hockey all the way up to the pro level throughout the region, right? This is really about hockey in the North Country, so it should be a really good time.
Right. I'd like, North Country, I think, is a relative term, because people think of different things, right? When you're located in, like Parrish or Pulaski, like where, we started playing, North Country is like, Malone and Canton.
Yeah.
Growing up on Long Island, though, North Country was Westchester.
I'm thinking that we're going to try to focus on things between Binghamton and Malone, or Messina.
Yeah, definitely. Right, because I got my youngest daughter's playing in Oswego, my oldest son's playing in Pulaski, Cameron's playing with you guys in Watertown. Right. To see all three of those associations involved, I think would be fantastic. Coaches sharing ideas or being interviewed on this. Yeah.
So can you tell me a little bit about, you did a lot of broadcasting of our summer hockey games, and I've seen you do a lot of the Obey games. I've seen you do a lot of the Salmon River stuff. You did some of the IHC Obey stuff this summer. What's that all about? Tell me a little bit about that.
So my love started, I didn't even realize how much I enjoyed this, right? I'm an only child. So I've always said there are two types of only children. There are the kids that, like being quiet, they like being alone, they can entertain themselves. And then there's ones that enjoy being the center of attention. They like being the only one in the room that everybody's looking at. That one's me, Mike. So when the kids started playing, and Bailey, being the oldest one, was the first one where we needed a time clock keeper. And so I went up there to learn how to work the clock. I thought I might know how to do score sheet, but that was like, that's important, right? That's official stuff. Let me get in that room, that booth first. So I was up there doing the clock, saw the person doing the score sheet, and then there was somebody operating the music at Salmon River. And he had a microphone next to him. And I was like, oh, cool. I said, so do you use that microphone to announce like penalties and, who scores goals? And he goes, no, we don't do that. Everybody knows. You can tell easily who scores because they all congratulate the kid. The kid's going to let you know he scored. I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. And then I was like, well, what about the penalties? And they're like, oh, the parents ought to know by now. If they don't know, they'll figure it out. And I was like, well, because the refs really, they're kind of quiet. They just tell the score booth, so the scorekeeper can record it. They don't face the audience where all the crowd was. And I thought I think we can improve on that. And then when it was coming up to a minute, I was like, well, you're at least going to say there's a minute remaining in the period, right? He's like, if you want to, you can. I was like, well, sure. He's like, really? You want to? I'm like, well, let me see that microphone. And I did my very first 1 minute remaining in the first period, 1 minute of play remaining. And I didn't let go. That was it. Right. So I started doing the live in-game announcing, and I loved it. Absolutely loved it. And then it was towards the end of that year. Now, before I started asking places that we would visit, be like, hey, do you guys announce? And I'd be like, yes, no. And I was like, okay. And I just kind of noted it. The following year, I started doing it for 2 of the kids now. And then I started asking when we were at away places. I was like, hey, I see you have speakers. Do you use them? Do you do this? And I started announcing. And then I started folding and doing the music at the same time. And I did that for about 7 years. Just announcing wherever we went. So it took me about 1.5 years, 2.5 years to accumulate. I can now connect to any soundboard I come across in the Northeast. Right. There were a lot of last second runs to Best Buy to get the right equipment to plug my stuff in. I picked up my own microphone. And so I've got my go bag that I bring to hockey games so I could do that. Fast forward to COVID, and I wanted to still do that, at least for the kids in the arena. And then our association was talking about, well, people want to see. We can't let parents in. How are they going to watch their games? And can we pull Live Barn off real quick? And well, I don't know. Sometimes when you got a volunteer organization, right, nothing happens real quick.
Nothing happens quickly. And Live Barns can be expensive for everyone too, quite honestly.
Right. And right, we specialize in catering to lower income families, right? And just in this piece where we're at in that northern Oswego County. So I was like, well, I think I could just stream right to YouTube. Like, oh, well, we have to get permission, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, that'll fall on my shoulders. I've learned a long time ago, it's easier to ask for forgiveness than it is to ask for permission. So I figured out what I needed to do. I started off with just a tripod, and I still, right now, I'm using my laptop camera. This same camera that we're using right now is what I use on top of a tripod. I use my computer, and I was like, I'm going to do the best I can do. And I said originally I was going to just film it, and I got a wireless microphone so I could still announce through the booth speakers what happened. So there was a guy up there that was doing a score sheet, and he was relaying information to me about who got credited with the goals and the assists, who got a penalty and for what. And I would still announce it, so it stayed the same for the kids. That's what I was really concerned about. And then I had this headset, and it honestly, it was maybe 3 minutes, and I just started doing play-by-play. I was like, I knew I had a captive audience. They were watching. They could turn down the volume if they don't like hearing my voice. And I was just having fun. And I started just calling out, who was doing what. I had the rosters for both teams because I needed that to announce who scored what. And so I had it. And I was just doing a play-by-play, and I got a lot of positive feedback. So I started taking it more seriously. And, here I am. I've got updated equipment. I'm actually about to troubleshoot. I've got a setup now with 2 mobile cameras that can each zoom in 20 times, 20 times zoom. And I have somebody that's going to help me out. We may try that out this coming weekend if we can get his scheduled in alignment, to see if we can work the cameras separate from my audio. And I'll do play by play and he'll run the cameras, and hopefully we can get even closer to real TV.
And wasn't there a channel or is there a platform to be able to host that stuff? You sent me something recently on that, where you can actually host that. As a matter of fact, I watched Juice's game, Julian Watts' game on that platform this weekend.
So, I use mine off of YouTube. I do mine through YouTube.
Yep.
I use OBX Studio what I use is my transponder. So something has to take the video from the camera and do something to it, whatever the magical electronic software is that it does,
right,
and transmit it to YouTube. And so I use that. And the way I have it set up, I actually have my phone set up as a separate camera, and it is locked on the scoreboard. So you can always see what the score is, how much time is remaining in a penalty, how much time's left on the clock, while I've got the camera panning back and forth to follow the puck, and I'm doing the live action calls.
Yeah, that's cool, because if you jump in like late or something like that, you can just look up and kind of see what the score is, see how much time's left in the game and that kind of thing.
I mean, anytime I'm watching a game, I never think to myself, oh, it's been about 45 seconds that's passed by since we last saw it.
Right.
I don't know. I can't remember how much time's left in a period. Sometimes you just want to know. Even when I'm watching the game live, I'm always glancing at the scoreboard to see, how much time has elapsed, because, sometimes seconds feel like hours, right?
Right, for sure.
So yeah, all that stuff, all my stuff is on my YouTube channel, right? The Dan Dalin. And I try to keep it simple.
And we'll get that in the notes for the show, because I'd love you to check out Dan's channel, look at some of his previous the previous games he's covered, because I've seen a bunch of them on there, games from this summer, some of the games that our team's played in, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I just recently connected with a guy that hosts tournaments across the country too, and so now I'm starting to go to different weekend tournaments to do their games also.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So if I could turn this into an actual income stream,
that'd be great.
Oh yeah,
for sure. Yeah, we had kind of turning to some local hockey too. We had some stuff going on yesterday. I know you were busy covering some football, but we had some hockey going on too. So, and I'd like to talk a little bit about that. Yesterday, actually this weekend, I don't know if most of you folks know this that are tuning in, but this weekend was World Girls Hockey Weekend. And we were afforded an opportunity at the Watertown Hockey Association by the Adirondack 46ers to come up and participate in World Girls Hockey Weekend. The coach of one of the teams, or several of the teams up there, is a guy by the name of Matt Jones. I've known Matt for quite a while. He actually coached my daughter Tori, who played hockey for him up there for a few years between Canton and Malone. And they had a team drop out of their World Girls Hockey Weekend event on Sunday and asked us if we jump in. And I thought it was a really awesome opportunity for us to get out there and really support the inclusivity and diversity of hockey. I thought it was a really great opportunity. Our team is actually a co-ed team, the Watertown Hockey Association, at many levels. It's just ironic that this year at the Bantam level, it's an all-boys group. We don't have any girls participating in the Bantam level at Watertown. I think most of them are currently playing on the girls' team for TI, because they have a separate team for the 14Us at TI. So we were able to take a trip up to Malone, New York, which is a long ways, quite a drive. And
North Country to people in the North Country.
It is the true North Country, right? It wasn't quite winter there yet, but it'll get there quicker than it will here for sure. And we were able to play a couple games, and I wanted to talk a little bit about this. And I don't know if you got, I don't know if they were even broadcast. They might have been on Live Barn. I think they actually had Live Barn there.
Yeah. So Karen showed me some clips that she took of the game, and yeah, they had a really nice Live Barn setup closer to the glass.
Yeah. So the games were scheduled at 11:35 and at 2:30 in the afternoon. The first game was between the Watertown 14U red team and the Adirondack 46ers 14U tournament bound team. And they're a heck of a team. I got to give them all the credit in the world. First of all, well coached. There's a lot of you can tell there's a lot of commitment to the program, and there's a lot of dedication by the coaches and the staff there. They do a great job. So, we knew we were going into, a serious competition. And I tried to, as the coach of that team, I tried to bring that to the forefront of the boys. I'm like, hey, because I think a lot of times boys are like, oh, we're playing a girls team. I wonder what it's going to be like. And you can tell from the first whistle, Dan, they brought it.
That's something I've always shared with Cameron or any of my kids. I love watching girls hockey because when you've got a girls only team, they start at the very beginning and work the entire time on crushing fundamentals because they have to rely on hard passes, receiving hard passes softly, being where you need to be, being where the puck needs to go to so you can attract it. Right. Because they're never going to get to the point where they can be like, I'll be able to just push him off the puck. I'll just hit him and knock him down. Right. That never comes. So it has to be great hockey. Now, great hockey with hidden physical attributes for sure. I remember the first time Cameron played a girls team, he got off the ice. I was like, how was that? He's like, they beat me up. He's like, I've never been hit so many times. I was like, yep. Battle for the puck along the boards is truly a battle, which it's supposed to be, and it's going to get that way. It's not just hitting a guy hard in the back because he's squished up against the boards. So
right, and then the funny thing is well, they executed those fundamentals really well right from the first whistle. And in the opening game, when the boys jumped out there, got lucky, got off to a real quick lead. As a matter of fact, Cameron
38 seconds. I was told
38 seconds in, Cameron put a puck in the net. We got out to a quick jump ahead there, but they were taking it to us. The funny thing is that was an end-to-end break for Cam. Because the puck had been in our zone for the first 30 seconds and he ran it out. And then after he scored, same thing again. It was the fundamentals of hockey. Like you said, the tic-tac-toe passing, they were very focused, super aggressive. They really followed the play well. You could tell that they kept the ice surface really spread. They knew what they were doing as a team. And it was a really fun game to play. I just want to kind of highlight the scoring sheet of the first game, talk about a few of the players, and I have the sheet with me here. In the first game for the Watertown Wolves team, Cam Dalin had 2 goals and an assist. Steve Mara had a goal. Trey Ledeux, my son, had 2 assists, and Will Wilkie had an assist. For the 46ers, Anna Monette had a goal and an assist. Olivia LaFleche had a goal. Tatum Cook Francis had an assist, and Erin Landry had an assist. And I got to tell you, I was super impressed with the Monette girl. She could really play. I actually talked to her after the game. I had seen some of, you kind of do a little scouting. You want to see what the teams are like. So I had jumped on and kind of looked at who they had played and who their goal scorers was. And she really lived up to the bill. You could tell she was right off the bat out there. She was flying around. So it was a great contest for sure. And it was nice because we got to take a picture with them after the game and really promote their World Girls Hockey Weekend. It was a nice time in the first game. Wound up second game. We brought our 14U white team. We augmented that roster with a few kids, 3 or 4 kids from the red team roster. Because it was the last minute, so we couldn't get some kids weren't able to travel. Some kids are still dealing with COVID restrictions at home, so the challenges are there as well. But our boys got out to a quick lead in that one. We jumped out in the first period. We had 2 goals relatively early. We scored like 20 seconds into the beginning of the period, and then a minute and a half into the beginning of the period, we had a goal by. Let me check here. Let me look down the score sheet. We had a goal by Trey Ledeux. It was the second goal of the game. And we had a goal by Steve Mara right off the bat, about 17 seconds in. Went up 2-0. They made a goaltending change, and then the tide turned. By the about midway through the game, we had Aiden Terry had actually started a net for us. I think it was 3-2 them about the midway point through. We changed over to our goalie, Brody McGregor. We usually split time between those guys. They actually split time in the first game. And they wound up putting 7 home. So good for them. They had 7. Once again, Anna Monette scored a bunch of their goals. She had a couple of goals and a couple of assists. And it was just, I think for the boys, I think they treated it serious. They brought the level of respect to the program that I was hoping that they would. And it was a really competitive contest for them. So it was a good learning experience for everybody. And it was a fun time, but a long day nonetheless. And I know your family had to travel quite. They have to go a lot further than even I do to get all the way. It puts that a 3+ hour drive.
Yeah, it's just a little over 3 hours. What Karen said about the game, she said that watching it, the boys look really good. And this is really their first time playing as that red team together, because before, there was some of the whites. I mean, there was, we didn't know exactly how it was going to shake out. So this is the first game, the first opportunity for them to all play as a red. And she said they played well. They played really smoothly. People knew where they were supposed to be. There was a lot of confidence in each other's abilities. And I think, that goes to a lot of the practices. I mean, the way the practices were run, the way the coaching has helped the team, led the team, and the way how serious, like you mentioned, how serious the boys took the game and take this team and their opportunity to play together. I think it's really clear they want to do well, not just in individual games, but as the season goes on. They want to see long-term success, so they take it seriously at each practice. They seem to bring it. So, and it really shows in the game. When the very first game, there isn't a lot of that loosey-goosey, I didn't know where they were going to be, that trust was there from the get-go.
Yeah, that's good, and they've spent a lot of time together. I mean, we've been together for, I think we've been together probably about 4 weeks. And we, like you mentioned before, we had 2 preseason scrimmage games with Cicero Chill, and we didn't do too bad. We actually played pretty well. I think we lost the first one 6-1, and then we wound up winning the next one 4-3 or 3-2. But it's really it's a group of guys coming together. Many of them haven't played before because we have a little bit of a change. We have some players from some other associations that have come on board. Some with the transition with folks coming and going from Fort Drum. Oftentimes you see a big change in the teams. So they really have melded together really well, and it's nice to see. That's for sure. Next up is another topic I wanted to talk about is some stuff we're going to be covering is the pro and college game. And as we work through the podcast, we're going to, I think we'll all get to talk a little bit about the teams we like. I know Dan's a big Islanders fan. I'm a big Bruins fan. I know my son, he wavers back and forth. He likes the Bruins one day, and he really loves the Vancouver Canucks. And I have no idea where that comes from. Why he likes the Vancouver Canucks, I don't know. But they're actually playing the Buffalo Sabres tomorrow in Buffalo, and I have not heard constantly about, Dad, can we go to Buffalo to see the Canucks play?
Well, that's a lot better than go to Vancouver.
I don't know if they'd let me across the border at this point, but yeah. And then the Bruins are playing there Friday, but we have a busy weekend of hockey ahead for us too, because we have some practice time scheduled, and we have a game on Sunday, so it should be a good weekend for us. A couple of other things I wanted to highlight are some of this, with Girls Hockey Weekend. One of the nice things when I was talking with Matt Jones is the girls from his team were actually able to go this past weekend and watch the Clarkson St. Lawrence games. Nice. The women Division I play has already began. The men's hasn't started yet, but women started last week. So they were able to get over to Appleton on Friday night, and then Shield Arena on Saturday to watch those games. And I know with my wife being an alum and a former player at St. Lawrence, we took in the game on television, which is nice. If you have ESPN Plus, you can watch a lot of those games, which is something I could never do before. You can watch all these college games. And Clarkson won both. They won Friday night 2-1 at St. Lawrence, and then they won again on Saturday 4-1. So good for Clarkson. They have a heck of a program. It was nice to see. St. Lawrence and Clarkson both have some women's games coming up this weekend as well. On the 21st, the Saints are playing RIT. That's this Saturday. And
I'm gonna have to root for RIT on that one, Mike.
Really? Why is that?
I graduated from
Oh,
RIT.
really?
Yep.
Oh, geez.
Yep. I used to watch the RIT men's when they were, a really strong D3 team. We didn't have the facility for it to be a D1. That was the only thing we were lacking. The team was there, the coaching was there. But after I graduated, they built a beautiful facility, and boys and girls are now D1 as a result.
And good. And really good.
And really, the coaching's always been fantastic there. I mean, since I started going in 1994 or something like that. But yeah. So
did you just cover your mouth when you said that?
As if I covered the date at all, right? I want to pretend I don't want to be old, but I know I am. So
right. And then Clarkson is out and playing Bemidji State, which I believe is in Minnesota.
Oh wow!
Bemidji State, yeah, they're playing out there. They're on a road trip this weekend. So the Clarkson women's, the men's game is going to be starting up here pretty soon, though. So we'll have some great coverage of that. I can tell you that we were talking with one of the guys who actually worked at Power Play Sports, is playing hockey now at SUNY Canton, Trevor Christopher. And Trevor is going to jump on for an interview with us. Hopefully we can get him on for the next show. And he's going to kind of give us a little primer of how things are over at SUNY Canton. And I can tell you that I've been over there to where the Roos play. I don't know where they came up with the kangaroo as the mascot for SUNY Canton, but they are the Roos. I've been over there plenty and skated in their rink. It's a great place. It's a great place to watch a game. And what a great program. I mean, up tempo, great hockey to see. So if you have a chance during the season to get over to SUNY Canton, if you're up that way, it'd be a great time to take in a game with them. And hopefully, if everything goes well and we have the opportunity, we're going to be able to interview Trevor this upcoming week. I know my son Trey wants to talk to him a little bit. He's a local guy, went to school here in Watertown, played OHA up in Canada, and then played junior hockey the last couple of years down here in the States. So that should be really good as well. What's going on the high school front down there? Is things starting up or no with Obey? When does that start? So,
yeah, so they're trying to figure out still the split season and snowbelt league for the midgets. We just got an influx of midget age players or 18U players from Oswego and Watertown, actually.
Right.
So that just puts it caught everybody off guard. We didn't realize that was going on. So that just ruffled some waters, but trying to iron that out and figure out, so how is this going to be? Because some of the Obey players want to play split season, some of them don't want to at all, because it's just too much hockey for them.
Right.
So
and they have to get so many games in before they break for hockey if they're going to play for the state tournament. So they're going to be they're going to get going with that.
Right. There are some positive thoughts towards competing in the state tournament. I mean, you got to be eligible, right? Got to do what you can do if you want to be competitive. So that just presents some challenges again, right? It being completely volunteer, just the size of the organization in Pulaski, tons and tons of heart. But trying to maintain that commitment when it's needed versus when it's convenient, right, doesn't always line up, and it's a challenge. So doing their best to get that worked out, and hopefully get it figured out real quick. Steve Olson, I believe, is still going to be the head coach, but now suddenly, right at the 18U level, we need like 3 coaches. So I know Derek Goodenough and Sean Stern are also great coaches, especially at that level. But again, it's figuring out times. If they're all available Tuesday nights, it doesn't necessarily help when we need Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday. So
it's the same thing here with the IHC team, which is a combined team. It's got the kids from Carthage and kids from Watertown, General Brown, and IHC, and Indian River, and we were set up and we were good to go. And as you know, Bob Tamaris was going to coach that team, and then
Right.
suddenly Bob had a change of plans due to some family obligations. He winds up relocating down towards the Elmira area. It's no longer up here. Is a great coach, is a great guy, but now they're in search of a high school hockey coach now in IHC, and I know they were going through the process and conducting some interviews. So it's the same thing, but it's like you said, it's a lot of commitment, and it's got to be commitment when commitment, just like the rink, it's got to be commitment when commitment is needed. Like you need to be like practice is always a big thing in high school, right? You got to be there if the ice times are 3:45 in the afternoon for the high school team, then if people work till 5, it doesn't really work. It's a tough obligation. It's a tough obligation to meet sometimes, finding the right person that can do everything that needs to be done.
Right. And then we also, I know since that's all run out of Salmon River for Ontario Bay, which is all volunteer run facility also, it's like, okay, we also need a volunteer around to cut the ice or, and then clean up the locker rooms after. And sometimes, high school kids aren't always the most considerate people.
No. There's tape everywhere, right? Everywhere.
Tape and spit lately, so you're like, come on. They drove themselves there. So it's not even like their parents is there to be like, knock it off, go get them up. No, they spit and leave. And so now you're like,
right.
So, yeah.
Serious.
And then you got to, and then what if your volunteer parent that's there to help clean up the locker rooms or cut the ice, their kid doesn't make the team? Oh, now what?
I don't want to do that anymore. I'm volunteering.
Right. That's exactly what happens, though, or the fear. And then you're like, oh, I don't want to have a kid make the team just because I need somebody to mop the locker room after. So, but just other challenges, that's all. And then figuring out time slots. And I don't know how Watertown IHC does it. Again, having multiple schools, we have 5 or 6 schools that make Ontario Bay. Not all of them contribute financially every year. Really? Yeah. So
with ours they do, and I don't know what that buy-in is, but there's a set fee for that whole process. And it's funny, back in the day I was I'm talking to some folks from Watertown, and I mean each IHC actually had its own team of just IHC kids, and Watertown had their own team, and you're not seeing that as much anymore. You're seeing these teams that actually have to pool resources together to have a high school hockey team. And I think a lot of that is probably because kids, some of the more talented kids probably get recruited away to play junior and do other things. So that high school teams don't necessarily always have a lot of kids, and they have to kind of pull together to be able to make it succeed and make it work.
Well, sure. The path through high school is no longer the path to professional.
Yeah. Right. Right. Or
even
college. That's what they're looking for these kids who have played juniors.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Juniors. And so now you're playing in some junior travel league that's 1,000, 1,500 miles away from where home is.
Yeah.
Right. I got a taste of that when in Oswego, when the NA3HL was playing in there, the Oswego Stampede. I was announcing for them. Oh my God, I didn't even know that existed. And that was the NA3HL. It wasn't even the NAHL.
Yeah, that's where Trevor Christopher played. The kid that I was talking about from City, he played in that league. He was playing down in Jersey for a team down in Jersey. He's from up here.
Right.
Down.
Oh my God. And so at 17 years old, you're in that league. You're not playing high school.
No, and, So so I mean, and that's just the path to college hockey, for a lot of kids.
Right. It's not even pros.
Right.
So so that's deterring away from the high school hockey programs, which unfortunately for all of the other players from youth hockey, that's what they were looking forward to.
Right. Yeah. Great. Well, let me just talk a little bit about our sponsor, because I really want to highlight some stuff that's going on. I was talking with Paul Trimper earlier today. There you go, Power Play Podcast. There you go. Sponsored by Power Play Sports, your home for everything hockey. here in the central and northern New York region. That's for sure. I'm going to get both of them in. Paul was saying that he was working on the chiller for their real ice today, and it is being hooked up, I think, on Wednesday. So they will actually go from, they had a synthetics ice space. They have a pro shop, full service pro shop, as you know. They have a great skate sharpening, Blade Master skate sharpening machine. They have some of the really great skate sharpeners there. And it is an art. I mention it every time, but sharpening skates the right way is an art. You got to do it the right way. If you look at different stuff, I mean, it really is. It's a science, right? Because if you're off just a little bit, kids can tell. Even a Mike can sometimes. My skates aren't right, you know. So they do a heck of a job with that. They got their real ices going in, so they're gonna have a real ice. They're gonna run a league. They're gonna have a 3v3 league going on down there. They got their synthetic ice. They have their lessons. They have ice slots at the Watertown Municipal Arena. They have them up at the arena up in A Bay. They have some ice slots up there. So one of the things I wanted to do is I just wanted to, get creative and do a screen share here and show you a little bit about what they're doing. So here is their location. It's 23438 New York Route 12. It's right off 81. I forget what exit that is. I'll get the exit for you next time.
That is so important to remember, that it's right off 81, because
tell that story, because I told Paul that story.
My God.
And they actually changed their map. They had the map to the old place still going to downtown.
Right. At that address. I like Google Maps was all messed up. Like I put in this address, Power Play Sports, and it went to where they used to be located, because I think that's where they had identified their Google business as. Or their business in the Google world. And if Google, that's what Google says. And so I went to it and I landed there and I was like, this looks shady, man. And I was like, all right, I don't know. I've never been here before, maybe, because it's hockey, right? You never know. This could be run out of the back of some guy's shed or his trailer. I have no idea. So we were there early, which is rare for me, Mike, but out of respect to you, my friend, I got there early. And eventually that made me late. But so, fun side story with that. We went for a quick little walk and we walked right there in downtown Watertown. The kids were starving. We went to a little pizza place. I was upstairs on the corner. I don't remember the name of the pizza place.
Cam's Pizza, probably.
It was Cam's. It was Cam's, yes.
New York style pizza.
So they say. So the kids had the pizza and I glanced around and I saw a guy that I worked with at GE 18 years ago. I was like, Tony Venero. And he's like, Dan Dalin. Oh my God. So Mike, I love Halloween. I like decking out the house, and I've got some homemade animatronics. My first homemade animatronics I got was from Tony Venero. His kids outgrew him. I went to his house out in Utica and picked them up, and I still have, those are some of my best ones that I got from Tony. So and then we went back, walked around, and the place was still closed up. So I ended up giving you a call, and I'm like, Mike, man, I'm here. It says Power Play Sports on the door. I'm here. And I
got it. Look at the little Power Play Sports, Watertown, New York, right on the old shoulder strap here. But we want to get you to the right place. And I told Paul, and now he's got it fixed on his site here, and he took that old Google map thing off.
Yep. So the next time when Karen was going, because Karen's only been to the old one, and I was like, wait till you see the new one. Oh my God. And they were still putting in the ice. And and I told her, I said, make sure you go to the right one. And we looked it up, and I'm like, son of a gun. If this is the right one, this is in the right spot now. I said, you're fine. And whatever they did it, and it's fine now. And so she was able to meet. She's like, yeah. She's like, I had no problem. I don't know what your problem. So now, she blames me for not knowing how to drive, whatever.
So I got their address up here for you. I got their hours. And you know what? If you're tuning into the podcast and you don't have the video screen, I want to just run through their hours, 4 to 8, Monday through Friday. And as I mentioned before, not a lot going on before 4. Matter of fact, your kids should probably be in school before 4 o'clock. They shouldn't be hanging out at Power Play Sports unless they have a day off. And then sometimes they adjust their hours. On the weekends, it's 10 to 6. Make sure, make sure you get your skate sharpened often, and make sure you leave yourself a little time to get your skate sharpened, because sometimes they can be quite busy, especially with all these different events going on and tournaments coming through, and weekend hockey is always most popular, and kids want their skate sharpened for the weekend. So make sure you get it taken care of in advance. If you need to call them, 315-481-0612. The general manager of Power Play Sports is Jonathan J.R. Richards. John's a great hockey guy, a Clarkson graduate, and we're going to try to get him on the podcast and feature him to talk a little bit about the new products coming out from CCM in 2022. A lot of their stuff is coming into stock now, so that'd be really good to be able to get John Jr. on and talking a little bit about what's going on at Power Play with the new ice. I think that's really awesome. Another thing they do as part of the program is the Power Play Sports Foundation, which is different than Power Play Sports, which is obviously different than the Power Play podcast. So we got a lot of Power Plays going on here. But the Power Play Sports Foundation is a 501c3 non-for-profit, and they have an outdoor rink out back when we have ice and when the weather gets cold enough. And as we know around here, that will be in about a week, will be probably cold enough to put ice down. But they run a full-size rink. They're going to be looking for some volunteers to help with that. We're going to put a calling out to some of the kids in our youth program and some of the kids in our club program, but we may feature something on their outdoor rink. It's actually a full-size outside rink that they put up outside with the boards and the glass behind the Power Play Sports venue out back, and you can skate on it for free. So it's really cool. Not that we don't have enough ice. I mean, they have synthetic ice, they have indoor ice, and they're gonna have outdoor ice, and then they have ice at the Bay, and they have ice in Watertown. So they have ice everywhere. So,
and I think like it's good to know, right? They do that based off of a lot of feedback from the people that support them, right? A lot of people that come in and utilize their facility, the pro shop. This is what's being asked for. So
yeah,
it's what they're doing.
Yeah, and it's a full service facility, and I honestly, I don't know if you can find if I can find a hockey stick for $99 online, and I can go to Power Play Sports and buy the same stick for $99 or $105, whatever it is. I want to have that one-to-one relationship so that I know these guys know what they're talking about. I'm getting the right product. I like to shop local, right? And I feel like they're specialists in the area, and I also like to have my skate sharpened by a pro shop. And I don't want to have to drive all the way down to Syracuse to do that, right? And I don't feel as though, no slant to Dick's, but I don't feel that's not their forte. Sharpening skates isn't Dick's forte. They throw it into an automatic sharpening machine, and there's no precision sharpening there. And they're not doing peer after peer, and they haven't been trained properly. So it's just the right place to go to have your hockey needs met. That's for sure.
Yeah. And, you mentioned their phone number, right? 315-481-0612. And their hours 4 to 8 during the week. But like you said, they may change. Like if there's a day off from school or a half day, or even let's say you got practice for your kid at 5 and you don't know if 4 is going to be enough time. You want to get it at 3. A lot of times you can call ahead, maybe a day or so early, and just ask them if they're going to be around, because like you said, right, JR lives hockey. Everybody at Power Play lives hockey. They get it.
Right.
If a half hour is going to make a huge difference for you and your youth, they'll accommodate. You just got to give them a call, 315-481-0612, and they'll do what they can. If they can, they'll do it to help you guys out.
For sure. So I want to thank them. Stop the screen share. Probably can hear the dogs howling in the background. Got a couple beagles outside. One of them's actually named Tuca, named after the Boston Bruins goalie, Tuukka Rask. So my beagles, they want to jump in the podcast, and they love hockey as well. So it's great to hear them out there. Could you hear them? Did you hear them in the background?
Yep. A little bit.
They're out and about.
You're going to have to get a Dosh hound if you're going to name them after a beagle, so they can close up that 5-hole with that belly, right?
That belly, dragging on the ground. All right, so hopefully next week this time when we're recording, we have the boys on, Cam and Trey, and get them into the swing of things, and we can maybe get maybe we can get some interviews. Maybe we can get JR on. I'd love to be able to get JR on from Power Play. Love to be able to get an interview with Trevor Christopher up at up at from SUNY Ken, get him on, talking to us, telling us what's going on up there. Maybe he can give us a little preview of the season. I think they're actually starting here. I'll look that up and I'll have some information on that for the next podcast. But I think they're actually starting here pretty soon. And we have a busy week at our youth level. A lot of stuff going on. I think we have a mic jam actually going on this weekend in Watertown.
Oh,
so,
nice.
Yeah. So just, kind of tune into, social media. You can follow the Watertown Wolves, the Watertown Hockey Association online there. There's a lot of stuff available. Salmon Rivers Association's on there as well. So is TIs and Canton and Adirondack and a lot of the different places we're going to cover. And that's one of the things I really want to do with this, Dan, is get some of these different folks in from these different teams, some feature a team from Salmon River, a 12U team, or feature a team from another association up north or something like that. I think it'd be really fun for them to be able to talk a little bit about their team and their program and just, bring some awareness to what they're doing and how much fun they're having.
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't see any reason why, like Salmon River mentioned earlier, they're run by volunteers and we need volunteers. It doesn't necessarily have to be a volunteer that has a youth in the organization. If it's somebody within the community that just loves driving the Zamboni, boy, have we got opportunities for you, right?
Sure. Learn how to be a pro Zamboni driver.
Oh my God. How many
There's a
people
lot
have
of
that
people
on their
on the
bucket
hockey
list?
world. Yeah, it's a bucket list item.
Crush that for so many people. Lines going out the door.
That's awesome. All right, folks, I think we're going to wrap it up. Dan, anything else to add before we close it out for the night?
No, I always say, a lot of people say, hey, have a good day. And to me, that's waiting for the day to be good and so that you can enjoy it. And I like taking action. I believe that we're in control of everything that we do and everything that happens to us. So I say, don't wait for it to be a good day. Make it a great day.
That's an awesome way to finish the show. Make it a great day. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. We appreciate you supporting the Power Play podcast. We look forward to seeing you next week. And we're going to get this out there for everybody to share, spread the word, make everybody aware of the great things we're doing here at the Power Play podcast, sponsored by Power Play Sports. So thanks, everybody. Make it a great week. And Thanks to Dan. Have a great one.
Thank you, Mike. Take care.